Hey everyone, my name is Amanda. I've got 4 primary aged children. I live in the UK and I've been home educating them for the last 12 months. In this video, I just want to talk about, really honestly, how my husband and I came to the decision to take our children out of school. I am one of those people that said when I had little kids, I would never ever homeschool them. So how did I get to this point? I love the company of adults. I love my work. I enjoy adult interaction. I'm not naturally a big kids person, and so the fact that I found myself choosing to homeschool was a huge surprise. I'm just going to share with you how we came to that decision. As I said, we've got 4 kids. They are currently 5, 7, 9 and 11. And around kind of 2 years, 18 months ago, my husband and I started to just reflect deeply on what we wanted from the next decade. You know, our oldest was approaching 10 and we had 10 years of parenting under our belts. We had done all the babies and all the toddlers, and now they were all grown up and out of nappies, and 3 of them were in primary school, the youngest was in preschool, and everything was chugging along really well. We were happy. We didn't have any problems with school, but we just started to ask ourselves bigger questions about what we wanted out of the next 10 years of our life. We thought, you know, in 8 years our oldest will be 18, she will have finished school, probably going on to university or something like that. So we were aware of how quick the time was going and what did we really want to get out of the next 10 years. And we realized, well, we knew already, but it really dawned on us as we began to reflect on it, that one of the most happy things for us, the things that brings the most joy, is when we go away in our caravan. We don't have a flash caravan, but it does sleep all 6 of us, and we love it. When we just load that thing up and we hit the road, we enter, it's like going into the dimension of happy, joy, and peace most of the time. I notice that they don't fight as much when we go away. We put our devices down, our tech, we massively reduce that. We read, we paint, we go exploring, we spend a lot of time in nature, and we just have really rich family time, and we wanted to do that more. One of the issues we have is with my husband's work. The weekends are not very easy for us to get away, but we have more freedom and flexibility during the week, and so we just began to think, how could we build this into our life more? I also realized that after 10 years of living in the UK, I'm from New Zealand originally, and after 10 years of being here, there was still a massive list of things that we hadn't done that I really wanted to do. Growing up in New Zealand, I love New Zealand. It's the most beautiful country in the world, but I really love that physical connection with cultural history. I just am really intrigued by people and what they have done over centuries and millennia, and that's one thing that New Zealand doesn't have, is that longevity of physical human history. And I always used to think, wouldn't it be awesome to live in the UK and to be close to Europe and to be able to visit all those castles and things like Shakespeare's Globe and all these things. And after 10 years of being here, I hadn't done half the things on my list, and I thought, well, my kids haven't done them either. And I realized that if we just kept going as we were going, and if we kept on the treadmill that we were on, which everybody else was on, and if we sent our oldest child off to secondary school, we just did what everybody does, the next decade could go by and we might still find ourselves in the same position. And I thought, you know, living in this country, there is so much. It's like a juicy orange, and I wanted to suck it more, and I wanted my children to have the chance to suck all the juice out of the orange, is probably the best way to talk about it. I began to question whether having our life and our diary and our time dictated to by all sorts of things, including school, whether that was really going to serve us and to serve the bigger picture of the goals that we had. And so I started to do some research. I started to think about, well, what would it look like if we kind of unplugged from this and we took the freedom back and we sat down and said, well, what do we want to do with our time? And if we've got that freedom, what do we want our children to learn? How do we want them to learn? And the more I began to look into what other parents out there were doing, I realized how diverse education is, how in different countries it's done differently. There is no one perfect curriculum. There's no one government or national system that's nailed this. Depending on which country you're in, you're going to learn different things, and so really there is a huge amount of flexibility over what children learn, the way children learn, and the goals that their education is ending towards, or where it's all going. So I just found myself with a confidence that, you know what, if we take them out of school so that we can have some time as a family to really invest more in traveling to those places that we want to visit, spending more time in our caravan, I know that we're capable of providing them with an education along the way that is going to enrich their lives, that is going to hopefully nurture something of the individualness of who they are. And that became more and more important to me the more I thought about it. What might come out of my children? What might I discover about their personalities, about their passions, about their creativity, if we had some more freedom over it? And that question became so compelling and so intriguing, and so did the desire just to get away in the caravan. So yeah, my husband and I, after a couple of months, decided, you know what, we're more likely to regret staying on this treadmill for another 15 years than we are to regret taking them out. And when we realized that, that was a no-brainer for us. And we don't really mind risk, we're quite comfortable with risk, but the more I researched what was going on out there, the different resources, the more I realized there really was not a big risk for us. And so we talked about it with the children, we asked them their opinion and what they thought, and came to the conclusion that we just needed to unplug for a little bit and try something new, try something different, and see what might emerge, and really invest in our relationships with each other and spending the time together exploring this amazing country, hopefully heading over to Europe. We can't at the moment with the lockdown, we're a bit more limited, but that was our desire, and so far we're really enjoying it. If you're interested, you can follow on Instagram, Homeschool Hack over there. I'm going to do a bunch of videos on what I've learned over the last 12 months, how I've changed, how my children have changed, what some of the things that we discovered that we didn't expect to, and just share this journey for us, because I know there are thousands of parents out there in the UK and around the world who recognize that the times are changing. The world is a very different place to even 10 or 20 years ago, and we don't have to do things the way they've always been done just because they've always been done that way. It is okay to think outside the box, and that is what will shape the next decade globally. And I know there are big changes in education coming anyway, so we thought, let's just get on board with that trend of change and see what we discover in the process. Okay, I hope that's helpful to some of you. This is just our story, it's just our opinion, and I hope that sharing that is just an encouragement to some of you. Okay, bye for now.